as I summarize that, I'm not trying to imply that the adult media is directly causing the health concerns. I
Right.
see a lot of penis havers who use adult media because it's relatively consistent in helping them become aroused, and they can become overly reliant on that and not connected with their own bodies or their partners.
It's great to have you with us today. We are just going to jump right in. I have some questions for you. Oh, today we're going to be talking about adult media. So many couples struggle to talk openly about adult media. So what makes these conversations so difficult?
Well, I think probably the number one reason why it's so difficult is that a lot of couples avoid the topic to begin with until it comes up, and then they suddenly see there's somewhat of a different understanding, a values difference, or maybe somebody like feels hurt that that their sexual connection isn't what they want it to be, and blaming adult media is an easy explanation when it's probably a very convoluted reason why the problems are presenting.
Yeah, there's probably a lot going on there. So how can couples start this conversation in a healthy way?
Well, I think probably the first piece, if I could go back in time and see all my couples early in their relationships when they're just like meeting and they're bubbling with new relationship energy and they're connecting and such, is say, look, we probably want to have some explicit conversations about sexuality, how each person wants to express that, um, and for instance, their experiences around adult media and how that impacts their lives, what maybe they've had in previous relationships come up around it, or their families of origin. I think having just that background conversation without even like negotiating anything, without even agreeing on anything, but just talking about what's our background and life history around that, that would be wonderful and would really help with like reducing surprises that come up.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that having these conversations can strengthen trust, intimacy, and communication?
Oh God, yes. I think like that's super important. I think that the issue is that oftentimes resentments start when there's these conversations that aren't happening in the background, and then when there is difficulties with emotional or sexual intimacy that come up, and very commonly in long-term relationships, this will happen, and this will be kind of a point of contention for the couple. And I've had partners who have had concerns from just complete like moral rejection around adult media to more nuanced perspectives such as like our social connection really isn't where I want it to be, and I have under the impression my partner is overworking and uses adult media to masturbate quickly and efficiently, and then he struggles with erectile concerns when we meet up together. And as I summarize that, I'm not trying to imply that the adult media is directly causing the erectile concerns. I
Right.
see a lot of penis havers who use adult media because it's relatively consistent in helping them become aroused, and they can become overly reliant on that and not connected with their own bodies or their partners. And that has a lot of knockdown effects with emotional and sexual intimacy.
Before you watch the rest of our video, did you know a lot of people haven't subscribed to our channel yet? So if you love this type of content, go ahead and click subscribe now before you watch the rest of the video. Yeah. And now I'd like to look at this from a professional perspective. So I want to talk about strategies for therapists, educators, counselors, coaches. So what can they do to help couples increase their comfort level talking about this topic?
Well, typically so I do a lot of integrated sex and couples therapy, and so one of the first pieces when I'm working with a couple is that early on in the process, I like to do individual history visits with each person. And as part of that visit, I do a pretty thorough conversation about sexual history as well as messages in the home and relationship around adult media and their experiences with that and with previous partners and such, because that's going to really influence what's coming up in the session around that. And particularly if I'm working with a heterosexual couple and the penis having partner, the male partner, is struggling with erections or ejection and such, that adult media probably is going to enter the chat at some point, and that is going to be the case. Or if I'm working with a couple where, let's say one partner is very religiously conservative and the other person is not, and they're avoiding the conversations around adult media, that's going to enter in the chat too if there's any kind of concerns around sexuality in that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. So, looking forward, how do you see the evolving landscape of adult media influencing the way couples connect? And so, what skills can be most important for navigating that?
Well, I think that we've hit sort of a point where it's very accessible, it's very commodified, and unfortunately, a lot of couples aren't aware that there's actually good adult media out there that is educational, that there's actually good sexual health information in there. For instance, good modeling of consent conversations are occurring between performers. There's adult media out there that helps people learn that there's different ways that they could be touched that can help them find sexual pleasure. There's adult media that's ethically made. A lot of people aren't aware of that. And I, in fact, have had so many clients tell me, and this is like breaks my heart, is they'll as a badge of honor, they'll say things like, well, I've never paid for porn, so therefore I don't have a problem with it, which unfortunately free adult media is oftentimes not meeting any of these categories of educational, feminist, it's just not, and that's unfortunate. So what I hope to do, and oftentimes when I work with couples, is if they're open to try to steer them towards adult media that is ethical, that is educational, that'll help them start the conversation, learn more about themselves, and that is really my goal.
Yeah, so let's talk about ethical adult media for a minute, because this is a question I get a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know what that is or what the difference is between like ethical adult media and traditionally made adult media, and some of like these bigger platform sites versus like the smaller ethical companies. So can you just give us a little bit of info on that for anyone who's new to the scene?
Yeah, I think some of the hallmarks will be, one, how are the performers treated and the process of production. For instance, are they compensated fairly with transparent contracting? Is their health being looked after by the producers? Are they allowed to find who they have chemistry with and engage in activities that give them pleasure and feel good for them, and they're not just designed to get clicks or just try to be the most intense examples of adult media that can be out there to just get attention.
Yeah, absolutely. If you love learning about this information and you want to hear more from people like Dr. Christopher Scott, please check out our upcoming events. You can find them on our website at sexualhealthalliance.com. We have events either online or in person almost every month, and Dr. Christopher Scott is going to be one of our upcoming speakers, so definitely check that out. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks for watching our video with Dr. Christopher Scott. Do us a favor, share this with someone who might benefit from this information. Your support helps us reach more people with important sexual health information. If you're passionate about this space, we know you'll enjoy these videos, so check them out. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and remember, you are exceptional.